Hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Hope you're having a blessed up Sunday. And something I want to talk to you guys about for quite some time. I'm going to read you a segment from here, but I'm also going to be combining these two books, the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali and also the Mindful Athlete. So welcome if you're just joining me. Before I get started on today, which is about how to change any negative situation and circumstance into I shouldn't say negative, but any undesired situation and circumstance into a desired one. So that's what I'm going to teach you guys today. I'm also going to teach you something so you can take away and actually integrate it and apply it. But before we get started today, welcome if you're joining. I have got two announcements. So the first one is I just want to say thank you so much. I probably have like 15 of you guys, and it means so much. So please, if you have not, go ahead and do it. Nominate me for a TED Talk. It's been a long time dream to get on a TEDx stage, on a TED Talk stage. And I feel like there's a big message that's going to really serve a lot of people. So I'd really appreciate you guys to nominate me. It will literally take you 1 minute and then screenshot it, send it over to me. And I will also enter you into a raffle. So I'm also going to be raffling away a few really cool things as a way of just saying thank you so much. And I appreciate you and your energy and your time. Number two is we've got 5 open slots into the Inner Circle. We have our Inner Circle team huddles on Thursday. So if you want to book out a 15-minute strategy call to see just how it might work out or how if this is going to be a great fit for you, you can also send me a message and we can schedule your 15-minute call to get you set up for self-mastery, emotional intelligence, and how to operate at peak performance. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to start here with book number 1. I've got a lot going on here. All right, so book number 1 came from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which I think it was 8 years ago when I went through yoga teacher training, one of my favorite books. It says the entire outside world is based on your thoughts and your mental attitude. The entire world is your own projection. Your values may change within a fraction of a second. That's why yoga does not bother much about changing the outside world, but in fact, the inside world. And as the mind, so the person, bondage or liberation are in your own mind. If you feel bonded, you are going to be bound. If you feel liberated, you are liberated. Things outside neither bind nor liberate you, only your attitude towards them does. Now, there's a section inside of here that's really powerful, and it talks about an example of prison. Now, I've never been to prison. I have family members that have, and I also know people that have been there, but I have been self-imprisoned. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So whether you've actually been in a facility, a corrective facility, or you have your own addictions or attachments or things that you just really feel imprisoned with, you feel bondage towards, this topic is exactly for you today. And we're also going to talk about a strategy to help you break free from it. So it says, what you habitually think largely, and this is coming from another book, so I'm going to intertwine 2 books. This is from The Mindful Athlete by George Mumford. What you habitually think largely determines what you will ultimately become. It's an inner game. Well, that's really all I wanted to read from there. So here's one more section I wanted to talk about in here. This is a cool story I want to share with you. So there's a story where George Mumford would go into these prison corrective facilities, and he would go and teach mindfulness. Now, he worked with people like Michael Jordan and LeBron James and a few other people, like really professional athletes. I think he worked with LeBron James, maybe not, but I know for sure Michael Jordan. It says, hold on. So when I was teaching mindfulness in prisons, I understood what it meant when people referred to hell realm. I could teach groups of inmates how to practice mindfulness meditation. And he said people were there locked up 24/7. So the inmates instantly reached and slipped out of the present moment when he was trying to teach this meditation, because the corrective officer's voice would come on the intercom, and then this would disrupt whatever piece that they were trying to create. And it would create this moment of anger, frustration, So there was always this cue. Whenever that voice was heard, it would really stir up a lot of anger. And I want you to think of this in maybe something in your life right now that you feel bound to, that you feel imprisoned with. And there's always going to be those triggers. So identifying like what your triggered emotions are, whether it being a person, a place, or a thing that consistently triggers you, and then automatically you lose all control of your calmness, you lose all control of your emotional peace, your sanity, and you just turn into a psycho. Now, that's exactly what I'm talking about in here. And the best practice you can ever have is the practice of self-awareness, because that is where you start to transition your obstacles into opportunities to really reclaim your personal power. So keep this in mind as we're reading this story. Inmates instantly reacted and slipped out of the present moment whenever the particular correction officer represented to them authority, injustice, anger, hatred, the emotional drama, and the violence of whatever crimes had landed them in their first place in the jail. Also instantly came flooding back. Sometimes life, whether on the inside or the outside of prison, is like the CO, so the correction officer's voice over the loudspeaker. Stuff comes flying out of nowhere to throw us off our game. So instead of allowing this to happen, what you can do is turn this obstacle into an opportunity. So this week, what I encourage you to do is pay attention to your triggers. Pay attention to the people, places, and things that really throw you off your game. And it might even be just a certain situation that you feel bound to. It might be a circumstance that you feel bound to, that you feel imprisoned with. And use it. There's two forms of correcting habits, behaviors, and one of them is creating a disruptor. So if you feel completely out of control and you have not yet mastered your behaviors or your actions within something, I like to have something called pattern disruptors, where you completely leave what you're doing and you go to a completely different environment. For me, sometimes it will be yoga. It'll be salsa dancing when life gets too serious, or when I get too serious in this work, because it can be pretty serious. I just go and dance and I forget everything just for 2 hours, and I just live in a completely different reality. Meditation. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do as pattern disruptors, but then at the end of the day, you still have to come back to those pain points. You have to come back to maybe that relationship or the business or the whatever that has creating disharmony and possibly some type of like a negative reaction to it. And you have to do something called shape shifting. So what he's about to describe in here is something called the shape shift, where you're taking that one thing and you're turning it into a positive experience. And that's what a shape shift is. It's taking a negative reaction to something and you're turning it into something as far as like a reminder, or something that's going to bring you a reminder to create your, today's topic is like reclaiming your peace, reclaiming your calm. Now, correct me if I say this wrong. Thich Nhat Hanh is the practice that they're going to be talking about. So every time that this voice came on the intercom of the correctional officer in the prison's voice came on, was an opportunity to practice coming back to the present moment. And eventually, this is what happened. Every time the intercom went off with the CO's voice resonating through the room, inmates practiced paying attention to the emotions and the sensations that were brought up to the surface. They practiced observing them for what they were. Oh, check that out. I hear the CO's voice. I'm feeling intense anger at this moment. And versus getting this emotional overwhelm. So it's easy to blow an emotional gasket to reach for something to ease the pain, because we've all been there before. That's what numbing is called. But mindful meditation helps us understand the operation of our mind and emotions. It teaches us how to observe ourselves in the habitual patterns in a non-attached fashion, to let go and to be. They call it like water. Now, I'm going to come back. I'm going to bounce back to, so I'm bouncing back from two books. This one is literally, you can see all of my notes and highlights in here. So I'm going to come back to this part because they're literally talking about the same thing of the imprisonment within self and how to create liberation and freedom. So it says in here, this is why whenever I speak to prison inmates, which is another, a different practice here. You all feel you're in prison and anxious. Wait to get outside these walls, but look at the guards. Are they not like you? They are also within the same walls. Even though they are let out every night, every morning, you see them back here. They love to come. You would love to get out. The enclosure is the same. To them, it is not a prison. To you, it is. Why? Is there any change in the walls? No. You feel it is a prison. They feel it is a place to work and earn. It is the mental attitude. If instead of imprisonment, you think of this as a place for your reformation, where an opportunity, this comes back to the opportunity again, the opportunity has given you, an opportunity has been given to you to change your attitude in life, to reform and purify yourself. You will love to be here until you feel purified. Your time is over. You can go. I am still not purified. I want to be here for some more time. Many prisoners actually end up doing that. And that's more of like a yogic life, they say. That and they were even thankful for their prison life. That means that they took it the right way, because it's a form of purification. And one thing is that time is never wasted if it's enjoyed. So if we enjoy time, time speeds up. And this is what they're talking about in the mindful athlete, where it being like when you learn to control the breath, it slows time down. Now in here, now we're getting to the solutional part, because what I promised you today was I promised you an understanding of how if we have a toxic ecosystem within, that we can create the reformation from within. And a lot of that comes down to a simple practice of mindfulness and self-awareness, and also like the breath. So it says in here, calm is restrained by the controlled exhalation and retention of the breath. And then in here, I'm just telling you, like, these two books are literally, one is written that's worked with pro athletes. Another one comes back to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And I find it interesting because I see a lot of people who have been diagnosed with ADHD, which is practically everybody, because we practice the art of distraction versus practicing the art of being focused and taking healthy times out to control our breath. Because when we're in the present moment, we're in our true power. We're able to make better decisions. We're able to course correct things that are no longer serving us. We're able to be more observant of our habits and our behaviors and how we get triggered, or if we have to make decisions differently versus doing everything on autopilot, especially if you feel imprisoned based on your current circumstances and situations. So in here it says, the art of relaxed concentration, aka confidence, the secret to learning any game lies in not trying too hard. When the mind is calm and seems at one with the body, which finds its own surprising ways to surpass its own limits and blocks, intuitive process doesn't have to be learned. We already know it. And that is the need to unlearn habits that we've learned from outside people, places, and things, which interfere with this. And then we just like become one with the breath. And what I want to teach you guys today is actually a skill, a life skill that's very impactful. And it is, we breathe all day long, but we don't really breathe. And when you're in a space of like critical thinking, if you have to think a lot, if you're responsible for a lot of people and you're running businesses and you're, running operations, or you're running a household, we hold our breath. And that typically is like creating more like disharmony. So when you're actually learning, if you want to get in that Zen space, and they call in here in the mindful athlete, they call it the flow, which professional athletes playing at the highest level in the pro games call it in the zone, and they're able to get into this complete channel. And in order to get to that complete channel, it all comes back to the simplicity and the foundation of the breath. And the foundation of the breath is, if you just take a moment, and you can take this moment with me, where we're going to inhale And you can put your hand on your heart too. If the hand is an extension of the heart, and when we put our hand on our heart, it instantaneously will calm your nervous system. So when you take a deep breath in, and then you exhale, and you do like this rhythmic pattern, what I find is when I work with a lot of high-end achievers, if you count backwards, it will also put you in a hypnotic state where you're able to regulate your nervous system. You're able to get in this calm Zen state of energy. And one of the biggest misconceptions, especially if you're striving to do big things, if you guys watch my stories, you know I'm always very productive. I'm never busy, but I'm always in flow as much as I can remember to be. And I just come back to the breath, and I feel like I have so much time because I get to be so present in every different segment of my day. And I probably have anywhere from like 5 to 7 segments in my day. And I'm sure if you have a family or if you're running multiple businesses, you probably might have double or triple of that. So when you learn to just really regulate your breathing, you're able to get in that calm state of energy. So if you're inhaling, and you can do like a backwards count to like 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause and then exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's going to tremendously help you get in that calm state. And when you're in your calm state of energy, you receive more information, you process more information, and you're able to course correct and to create that shape shifting. So I hope today's lesson made sense about really being able to change your situation, your circumstance just by being able to regulate and change the rate at which you're breathing. I hope you guys have a blessed up Sunday, and I'm going to get back to studying, but I wanted to share that with you and the correlation of just combining these two books where they practically say the same thing. And one is talking with elite athletes, which athletes and entrepreneurs are literally in the same bracket. And then one is just life skills of life, which is a union with your highest self, self-mastery, and all that other stuff. But hope you guys have a blessed up Sunday. Remember the announcements. If you have not nominated me yet for the TED Talk, I would absolutely love and appreciate that. Send me a message. I'll put the link also up inside the stories, and I'm opening up the inner circle for 5 new students. So if you're interested, we can schedule a 15-minute call to make sure that it's a good fit for you and make sure it's the right environment for your needs and your wants. And I'll talk to you guys later. All right. Bye.